What's going on, y'all? First of all, if you a homophobic motherfucker, okay, and you a Bible thumper, you want to leave scriptures and all that stuff, don't even click on. You can click your ass right back off because somebody did that shit last week, and I don't know what was the purpose because I just deleted it. Blocked your ass. So you one of those motherfuckers, and you don't particularly like this type of subject. I don't understand why you clicked on this because you know what the show about. But anyway, you can click your ass out. But I could have sworn I was up in this bitch looking at Maury episode of Maury as the gay term because I was just confused. This shit was supposed to be serious, okay? This was supposed to be serious. They started Love and Hip Hop. This was episode, it's called The True. Love and Hip Hop Season 2, Hollywood, Episode 7, The True. And of course, they're going to start where they left off with last week. Last week, Amber came up into the room and, Miles was having a little counseling section and she was waiting for Amber to come. And Amber came up in there and then it went off. So, Mouse is like, I really don't want to hurt her, but I really got to tell her this. Every time he is up in his confessionals, first of all, y'all some fraud ass motherfuckers, okay? Y'all some fraud ass motherfuckers. And, something about your story is not sitting well with me. First, Milan put out there that y'all then broke up and, ooh, nigga, stop tagging me in your shit trying to make this stuff. You living fraud ass life and all that stuff. We ain't even together. And then the next thing you know, you on Wendy Williams together saying that, hey, shit happens. I was just mad because he put me in a picture with his, ex up on his page and all this stuff. And don't nobody want that. And so, I said what I said, but we still back together. But okay, whatever. Amber come up in there. Now, see, this was supposed to be a serious moment. And maybe some people do have this reaction, but this bitch was acting. It's so fucking hard for me to feel some sympathy for her because, like she said herself, everybody was telling her, girl, open up your eyes. Open up your eyes. And this is what makes me seem like this stuff is so fucking scripted because she was going out for the Emmy win for Best Dramatic Actress in a Comedy of a Reality Show. Because I was just like, girl, if you don't get your ass up off the motherfucking floor putting on the show in front of all these white folks, you are in a white residential neighborhood. Get your ass up. Got these niggas coming out here rolling. They looking like, people looking out their window like, oh shit, the niggers are invading, trying to call the cops. You got to stop this bullshit. You're embarrassing us, including yourself. All right? So Miles was like, girl, let me tell you this. So, we ain't been kicking it like that. And the thing of it is that, I've been having feelings for the same sex. And, I've been in a relationship with a dude. Oh my God! Oh my God. I was like, bitch, you crying or is you laughing? Because I'm laughing. And then she was like, I knew they was right. He was like, bitch, I gotta go to the bathroom. They was right. I was like, well, if they was right and you heard it, why didn't you question a nigga? Okay, y'all supposedly been friends. I don't give a fuck. My friends, they know what it is, whatever. I ain't finna. And first of all, you can't get really pissed off at Mouse because he was the type of person, and this happens in a lot in the gay community. You just, especially when it comes to men, you don't understand what's going on, and you're scared depending on how people will look at you. So therefore, you kind of forced to stay in the closet until you understand and become comfortable enough with yourself to come out. So you're trying to see if these feelings are real. So let me go ahead and date around with the opposite sex and see if do I feel the same way that I feel about the same sex. And then that's when people realize, no, bitch, I'm gay as fuck. All right. So it wasn't that he was necessarily trying to bring string her along. He was stringing her along as in prolonging to tell her about this relationship that, bitch, we ain't fucking no more. So therefore, cut ties. He was stringing her along in that sense. But he really wasn't. I do not believe he was trying to hurt her and string her along and just let her play his beard for the rest of his life. No, that was Amber's own fault. Amber, you in your confessional gonna say something. Now I'm embarrassed and then, my future is gone. You ain't never had no future with this motherfucker who wasn't even with you for years. Like when he was on Wendy Williams' show, he said y'all ain't even been together like that in years. So what are you holding on to? Hold on to the friendship. Fuck that intimate relationship that wasn't there. Okay, leave that shit alone. Like, damn, move the fuck on. Obviously, something happened that you moved on to another man and you got pregnant by him. Okay, because that baby ain't his. What I'm going to tell my daughter, you going to tell your daughter that ain't your daddy. And you know, he done moved on. He's still gonna be around if you want him to be around, but we ain't gonna be, you know, that's what it is. What the fuck? It's not even that difficult. And I just feel like, and I know some people like, well, you know, you gotta, I understand that. But she was putting on for the cameras, just running outside. She running outside like she just found out that Miles wasn't her baby daddy. You are not the father. That's how she was running outside. No, no, no. I need to call my mommy. I need to call my mom. I'm telling everybody, watch. I'm telling this. I'm telling that. And I said, see, bitch, that's why he didn't say shit. Because look how you fucking putting on. I'm telling this. I'm telling that. I'm telling that. And I was just like, girl, let that shit go. And I understand you being shocked and surprised and hurt by it because that's your friend and he couldn't tell you. But to me, it felt like she was more hurt because, like, and especially when she said, my future is gone in that confessional, because now she can't get that dick no more. Okay? She thought she saw a future with them. And I'm sitting here like, how do you see a future with somebody that you ain't been with for years? I'm confused. I'm confused. Like, bitch, I would have been gave up and moved the fuck on. Okay? You know, you want to come around, you know, you want a little something, we can dip off for a minute, but I'm not finna put all my hopes and dreams in the basket of a dick or a puss that ain't mine and I ain't been touching in a minute. Okay? No, it ain't even like that. I was like, Amber, shut the fuck up. And all that, and when she was on the floor kicking, and I would have said, look at this bitch. Get her. You know what? See, I would have just left. I would have said, I ain't got time to deal with this shit. Get her ass up. Y'all deal with it. You know, she's like, I'm going to go with my mom and my sister. You know, people really been saying this. You know, when we was younger, saying he was gay and all this stuff. And I never even thought about it. I never thought about it. And now, it's like, he's been talking to this guy named Milan. I got to go and talk to him because they always together. And I was like, bitch. I saw Miles and I knew that he was gay. I mean, some of y'all got to get y'all gaydar up, but you know, it is what it is. I just said, girl, you made it so hard for me to even attempt to feel sorry for you. Okay? You just, and that's your friend, and you should understand that he really wasn't trying to hurt your ass, but damn, you just put on a motherfucking show. I'm just sitting here like, hey, you talk about something be embarrassed and all this stuff. I said, girl, look at your, and when she was in that confessional and she was standing up straight and her neck, I said, damn, your neck is thick and long as fuck. Bitch, and be embarrassed by that. Be embarrassed by your motherfucking bone structure, because I'm just confused all the way, just like you and him. Okay, girl? I mean, I want to know, did he ask to fuck you in your, I'm not even going to go there. So, Nia, Nikki Baby, and Shonda. First of all, shout out to Willie. If that was really you know, he left a comment on the page or whatever, checking out the video and all that shit. Okay, boo. But that don't mean I'm gonna be nice. But you know, it is what it is. I can appreciate people who can you know, fan my shit and not take offense to the stuff that I say, because it's just fucking entertainment. But y'all put y'all asses out here for me to judge, so therefore I'm gonna do it, make some jokes. You know, that's how I do. That's how I get down with the get down. But Nia telling them, Nikki Baby was like, so I'm out here with my girls, and I just want to understand what's going on. And Nia was like, girl, let me tell you what's going on. So I met up with that nice bitch again. You know, first of all, it was Soldier that put us together. And then she's sitting there talking about some, oh, bitch, I got text messages and all this stuff from the day before when he wanted me to come to his studio and everything. And I was like, let me see it. And what got me was the fact that Soldier Boy was so calm about it. And I'm reading it and everything, and I was right. Shonda was like, girl, so what you gonna do? You remember on Two Can Play That Game when Monique said that shit to girl, what the fuck you gonna do? That's how Shonda said that shit. That's what was rolling through my mind. She was like, girl, what the fuck you gonna do? You want him? Look, I don't know. But, you know, she was like, bitch, what? That's how she was looking at her like, girl, okay. Nikki was like, so this bitch is up in here, you know, starting this shit, right? So when me and Tierra went to go look for models, something told me not to get this bitch because this bitch was all the way wrong. But she invited me to her little opening, and I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna confront this hoe. I said, girl, every time Nikki Baby be up in that confession, you can tell she reading because I be looking at her eyes, and that's why she move her hand so much so she can try to stay on cute. I get it, but she was like, girl, she invited me to her little store opening. I'm gonna come there and I'm gonna say some shit. I said, oh Lord. Then we got Brandy. First of all, My husband go to the studio and he in there with some vulturous, hoe ass Becky's. Then this motherfucker number 2 comes home and then he throw his wedding ring. And then this motherfucker number 3 tried to hit me with his car. Run away from me with his car. I'm like, so what you can see is shit ain't really been going cool in our household. And I was like, girl, okay, put your eyes down. Put your shoulders back and relax, okay? Just relax your forehead, all right? And next thing you know, out the corner of my eye, I said, bitch, who is Miss Piggy coming up in? Let me stop, because I like Tiny. I said, bitch, what she was looking like, because I be looking at the Muppets, and it's no shade. Miss Piggy is an icon, you can say what you want about me, but Miss Piggy is a fucking icon, but that bitch is shady as shit. Do y'all be watching the Muppets? I be watching that shit. It's so hilarious. She came out the corner. I said, bitch, where the fuck you come from? Aren't you supposed to be down in Atlanta? So y'all just crisscrossing VH1 shows. I get it. Get that check how you can. And Brandy telling her, girl, let me tell you something. So I was at home, and the baby down there on the carpet, he playing with something shiny, and I was like, bitch, this Max ring. And then I go up in the studio, bitch, he up in there with these bras and all this stuff. And then I'm like, girl, he coming, he throwing a ring, and he doing all this, and he doing all that. And then the whole time, this is me, and me and Tiny was on the same boat. Girl, what? When we really don't give a fuck. Like we know when our friend is on some bullshit. We just sit there and entertain them a little bit like this. And we just get a common answer. What? For real though? Come again? That was Tiny the whole time. And she was like, girl, but let me tell you something. You of another breed. So, yeah, he was fucked up. But you got to understand that your ass, you probably put some stuff to do something into it too, okay? Because you just do a lot, So, maybe you need to bounce down. Don't forget you a boss. But you need to bounce down just a little bit and know that bitch, he probably playing off your ass because, you doing some shady shit too. And I was like, tell her the truth, Tiny. Tell her the truth. Now, go tell your man the truth too. Moving on. Here go Tierra. And for once, I was on Ray J motherfucking side. Tierra and Ray J, they can't be together because they're the same vindictive ass people. Alright? They will be plotting against each other. That's why I want to know how they work when their relationship really was. Because I can see them literally trying to plot to take each other out from the inception of their relationship to the end. Okay? Because they're both sneaky, shady, and vindictive. That's what they are. And Tierra was like, so I did all this stuff to get back at Princess, and now Ray only heard her side of the story, and now I'm finna come over there and I'm finna talk to Ray and let him know the real, cause this bitch, I don't even want him and all this stuff. I said, girl, quit fucking lying. He gets up there, I'm meeting up with Tierra in our special spot, so nobody can know or think that we doing anything with each other or nothing. She can't throw no drink on me or nothing. And I just want to get down to the bottom of all this shit, how she tried to play Princess. Even though me and Princess ain't together, I come back from Miami and she done got all the shit out the house gone. And I'm just fucked up in the head over that. So let me check this bitch Tierra right quick. She was like, she came up there like she was going to be putting Princess on blast and all this stuff. Like she was in the right. And Ray J caught on to her and was like, bitch, you came up in this situation trying to be friends with Princess or be cordial with Princess so you can infiltrate and break up our relationship and get back on this dick. Oh, Ray J be acting like everybody want his dick. Look, I don't want his dick. You ain't all that and all this shit. And I said, girl, yes you do. Okay? And Ray J just told her ass off and she hopped her ass right back in her Uber. Okay? I was just like, girl, get the fuck on. Who you fooling? Yourself? Because you ain't fooling us. Is it me? Or do it really sound like, especially in the scene with Princess and Tierra, Tierra and Ray J, when she was talking, you can tell that she not used to being a big bitch because you can hear her breathing and trying to take breaths like she out of breath and she trying to, make it sound natural and flow. I know I ain't the only one who be hearing this shit. Like she was trying to talk fast and then she stopped and tried to take that breath. You can just hear when she out of breath a little bit. But we'll go do something about that if it's bothering you because it's bothering me. Like I've been a big bitch all my life. I can control that shit. But you? So Max, he like stuff been going on. Xylophone ass teeth. God, yuck mouth, bitch. I was gonna get a dig for a cheeseburger looking ass teeth. Motherfucker. He looked like that crackhead. He looked like that crackhead that was on Don't Be a Menace in South Central. I suck your, drink your juice in the hood. When he always, I suck your dick if you tell me this. You want these cheeseburgers? His teeth just, it just irks me. But he like, everything been going bad, so let me go up in my studio, do what I do. And Lil Fizz up in there singing a song or rapping a song that we done heard all too many times before. Same flow, same auto-tune, same everything. I was like, okay. I've been knowing Fizz. We grew up in the hood together and everything. So let me tell him. He get out the booth. I was like, Max, why is your white tee? That is the tightest white tee I've just seen on a nigga that's supposed to be a nigga, in a minute. Like, the shit was, it was tight. You could see the spandex on his sweatpants. You could see the roll that the spandex was making on his stomach. I shouldn't be seeing all this. And it was all wrinkled because it was too tight. I was just like, I just be noticing these things. And, Fizz, he telling Fizz what happened. And Fizz like, bruh, I know I'm being a playboy right now, but when I'm in a serious relationship, I'm a one-woman man, and if I'm married, that means that ring gonna stay on, and that means that I'm married. That means I respect that shit. And I said, damn, Fizz, okay. I don't like the fact that you acting like this little hoe, but that was kind of cute, and they was just chatting it up and all this shit. But I don't even give a fuck. Moving on. Amber is just she's so depressed. I just been going through it a lot, and so I had to call my grandma to come here and to talk to me. Grandma come up in there and I was like, girl, I need to respect my elders. Go ahead and bestow some wisdom upon this young girl boy or whatever you want to say. Girl, listen. Grandma sat down with her nails did the scarf. I was like, it is LA. Is it cold up in the house? What is the scarf? But okay, y'all do what y'all do. She was like, so grandma, me and Miles, we've been going through the stuff, and Miles, since he was like 15, she was like, yeah, I did. And we broke up. It's finally final that we broke up, and it's nothing more. And she was like, I knew this was gonna happen. I just never saw it in the pictures for you and him to be together forever. And I said, that was one clue right there. And I said, you know what? The next thing that come out of grandma's mouth, she gonna say, bitch, I already knew. And sure the fuck, girl, and was like, so I go to counseling. And he was like, he was having these feelings for the opposite sex, for the same sex. And then he's been acting on them and all this stuff. She was like, the grandma said, now see, girl, wait, I could have told you, but I'm going to let you finish. I said, grandma knew? Grandma knew? That shit had me rolling. And then when she finished, she was like, I just feel like I just wasted my whole life. Like he was playing games with me. Grandma, you kind of irked me a little bit when you was like, he was just trying to control you. He was using it to control. He wasn't trying to control that bitch because he was not with her these last few years, and you still holding on as if y'all was a goddamn couple, or how long it was, and it was Amber that was still holding on and putting this in her. She couldn't see the signs. She was so deep in love that she just didn't want to let go and let the truth come out. And she was like, I lost so many friends over this shit because they was like, girl, that nigga's gay. You fucking a gay nigga. I was like, how many of y'all women that fuck gay men? Okay, get over it. 9 out of 10. Not even gay, bisexual, y'all done fucked the gay man once or twice in your life. You just don't know it. Alright? But what will happen, okay? People gotta stay in hiding so much, but I just don't like or respect people. If you know that you are gay or bisexual, let your partner or the person that you with know, okay, so they can decide if that's what they want to deal with. All right, don't be fucking this girl and then fucking this nigga and you're doing it at the same damn time. I'm never been here for that bullshit because that's just dirty. All right, but anyway, grandma came up to her and was like, girl, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. I said, what are you crying for, grandma? I guess because your baby hurt. I guess. But grandma knew. Grandma knew, and I just died laughing because that means if grandma knew, everybody else knew, and you was just blinded by your own feelings. Girl, that shit was funny to me. Then we get Nia going to speak to Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy wants us to come and have this dinner, but he needs to be held accountable for the stuff that he's done. He can't just let himself get off the hook that easily. And I was like, Nia, shut up, because Whatever this dude say, you gonna just you dealing with it. You know, you trying to see what's going on. He trying to apologize, talking about something. I'm sorry for this, and she was like, "Bitch," you know, basically saying that's not enough. That's not my bad, y'all. Got a text message. That's not enough. But it just irked me the way that he got so all up in his feelings. It was like, you know, I apologize. I said I'm sorry and all this stuff. But you got your whole ass, thought ass friends doing this and doing that. Man, fuck you and all this shit. You had a baby. You ain't innocent in none of this stuff. I'm worth $25 million. I can have any bitch that I want. You know what I'm saying? You can take this shit or leave it. And I was like, leave that shit. She got up, but you know she gonna go right back to that motherfucker. And you look like Deputy Dog Dumb Dick, okay, with that motherfucking hat on, alright? And then they had to stick them in the middle of the fucking restaurant, and they was just raising their voice, and he just kept getting loud and loud, you know, and the people was trying not to look, but my ass would have been sitting there like, y'all put y'all asses up in the middle of the restaurant so we can watch. So therefore, I'ma sip my drink, and I'ma watch. Say that again, nigga. Louder, so I can hear it clear. You know, you gotta speak louder too, Nia, because you got that list. Okay? Girl, get the fuck out of here. So Brandy set up this little fruit tray or whatever because she was like, I know that, you know, Max threw his ring away, but I'm partly to blame and we both need to take responsibility. He come in, hey baby. And then I was like, okay, he sit down, she get on top of him. She was like, you know, I can be a little high strung and all that, and you know, the wedding ring thing, it just gets to me. And she put his feet, next thing you know, she put her feet behind his ears. I saw them toes. I said, oh, she got a bunion right there. And then he was like, girl, you trying to talk to me. He was about to say, you know, because I'm from the streets and all, wait a minute, you doing all this shit. How I'm supposed to concentrate? I would have said the same thing if it was my bitch with me, like doing some shit like that, because it really don't take much. And she was like, I just can't stop touching you because you just the most handsomest, beautifulest dude in the world. And I said, bitch, you said that shit with a straight ass face while you was looking down at his teeth. Okay, and we all couldn't help but see that shit. I said, his motherfucking teeth look like Jigsaw. Okay? And I'm just sitting here like, girl, who you lying? You really want. Okay, you know, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so let me stop playing. And you know, basically, he just said, fuck this shit, I'm gonna give you a new ring. She's like, oh my god, I'm never gonna take this ring. No. I said, oh, please, next scene, please. And then they moved to the next scene to some more trifling shit. Nikki goes to Nas' shop. So let me just tell you this. Nas was like, hey girl, so when you gonna get together and do the model thing? Well, we going into a different direction. We won't be needing you. We already got the stuff. And you know, this whole thing, when I first met you and heard about you and Soulja Boy, it's like, you know, Nia's my friend, and you know, Soulja is publicly claiming her. And she was like, so what? You know, he still becoming that me and all this stuff. Nikki made a good point. Can't believe that I'm agreeing with her because you know you hoes be trying it and y'all don't know how to. You sideline bitches be trying it. Y'all don't know how to play y'all position. She said, regardless of if that motherfucker fucked you this morning, if he ain't putting, you know that's his girlfriend, bitch. You supposed to play your position. You ain't shit. He's still posting about her and all this stuff, not you. And I said, good point. Good point. Nas got in her feelings and was like, bitch, you can have your opinion, but you don't know the whole facts. So, you know, get the fuck out. Security, get this bitch out. And Nikki was like, I'm not ready to leave. But bitch, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Put your hand down. Put your hand down. Nas was about to whoop that ass. And I was about to say, Nas, go ahead and whoop that ass, even though I don't, you know, I just wanted to see somebody fight. That's all I wanted to do. It wasn't no team this, team that. And I thought Nas was about to proceed to whoop that ass until, you know, Nas, she lost this for me when she did this. And I said, wait a fucking minute. Did she just throw up? And she did. And proceeded to try to throw something on Nikki. And Nikki was like, she was like, yeah, bitch, from your motherfucking face with all them plastic surgery. Now, in the confessional, you know, Nas was like, you know, this bitch must have had got amnesia for all the plastic surgery that she had. Ooh, I said, okay, that was a good one. That was a semi-good one. But then you lost that battle once you threw up. Not once, but you threw up twice. And I said, girl, Nikki, just go. Just go. Because this bitch ain't worth it. She threw up at her own shit. Twice. So at the end of this episode, Miles meet up at his sister's house and talk to his sisters and all that stuff, and um about him being gay and always having feelings for men and all this stuff, and he already knew what to expect because he said they grew up and that's all they used to do. They used to talk negative shit about gay people and all that stuff, and there's some people that do that in their family and they grew up like that, and that's why people stay in the closet because of fear, of rejection, fear of not being loved anymore. And I'm not here for that bullshit. Like I surely thought that they was gonna be on some, like, something in my spirit just felt like, because they came out with their real feelings. But when the sister Champagne was like, girl, so basically we got morals and you just basically said fuck God, okay? And I'm like, girl, that's not what he said. And I just can't stand the fact that, straight people, Christians, I'm a Christian too, but the way that when a person come out and say that they're gay, oh, you don't love God, oh, you don't believe in God, you're going against him and all this stuff and yada yada yada, as if being gay hinders you from actually, hearing the word or going to church or whatever your place of worship, or loving God just as much as the straight person. I can't stand that shit. And I can't stand that that's the main thing that people want to find fault with, instead of all the other sins that you motherfuckers do too. But let the motherfucker come out to be gay. Oh, it's the end of the motherfucking world. Oh, it's the end of the goddamn world. And then you want to leave scriptures and say God didn't say this. But see, bitch, God didn't say, God said you're supposed to be married before you have sex. God said you're supposed to be married before you have sex and before you have kids. And y'all ass are sitting there with 3 different daddies that y'all don't fucking know. And you talking about goddamn morals. And then, it flipped and they was like, but you our baby brothers and we didn't want to see you going down this path and all this stuff. Like, what path? The path of finding himself? And it just, I get that that's how some people are. They just don't understand what's going on. And, especially when you brought up in an environment where people are teaching you that, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And this is why people stay in the closet. This is why you have so many down low people, because they are afraid to be themselves, because it's fear of judgment and it's fear of fucking rejection. And especially the love that they lack from their family because of it. And then all of a sudden they flipped and was like, girl, whatever, we gonna be your family regardless because you are our little brother. I feel like they only said that shit because the camera was right there. I feel like they real feeling showed when that girl said, so basically you said fuck God. Oh, no. But other than that, it was cool for what it is. And that shit really does happen. And I was looking at Miles crying. I said, baby, where the other tit at? It was only one tit coming out the eye. But, y'all put that shit down in the comments. Like I said, be respectful. No homophobic shit. I don't want to see your scriptures. Yes, I'm versed in the Bible. I know what the fuck shit is, okay? And, I can point out a Bible verse for your sins too. All right? Just like you can do one for mine, so I can do it for yours. But, yeah, I'll see y'all later. Let me look at this ratchet shit. Black Ink Crew. Girl,